Hi guys, it's Lisa. I'm gonna finish the binding on this book for you guys for the second half of the tutorial on it. I'm going to show you guys how to cover the spine and the front pages today. So, first thing that I've done is I've gone ahead and die cut some papers. Using my Sizzix die that I used. You can see on this paper that I've finished taking out the holes on my actual die. And like I had said before, if anybody wants to know how to do that, it's not easy, but it's not that hard. I can tell you how to do it. So, for my front and back, this paper is flocked. If it wasn't flocked, I'd probably Mod Podge these on there. But since it is flocked, I don't want to do that. So, I'm going to go ahead and glue these pages down first. And anybody that has this quick dry glue knows that clogging is a problem. Whether it's the old bottle with the old tip or the new bottle with this new tip, either way, the quick dry glue is a problem. I'm just pulling the glue away from the edges and smoothing it out a little bit. It does dry faster this way, but it won't squish out as much. And you can see that the paper is starting to wrinkle. So, it's one of the downsides of using a wet adhesive. Oops, got a little wrinkle there. Gonna go ahead and back and where the glue's already dried. Gonna just add a little more. Check it. Make sure it's all good down well. Oops. Guess it didn't matter that I spread it out anyways, huh? I'm squishing it out the sides. This is not my favorite way to put paper on. I really, really like to use my ATG gun. But, I feel like this is a little more secure. Like it actually bonds the paper. Your ATG glue stays sticky. You know? It never actually bonds to the paper. Whoa. Technical difficulties. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the back cover. Hopefully a little faster than the front. All of us know how to glue things on. You don't really need a tutorial on that, right? Technical difficulties. Have the tripod balanced on something else. As I said earlier, I'm been moved out of my scrap room temporarily, so making do with where I am. Okay, so those are both glued down. The next thing that I did was I took my spine and spread it open and measured how wide that was. So it's a little over, it's like 2 1/16. Then I measured my book this way, which is about 3 1/2. So I cut a piece of chipboard to by it's about 2 and it's almost 3.5. 1, 2. Looks like 3 3/8 tall. Anyhow, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these pieces to the spine. Alright, what this is going to do is this is actually going to give your book a rigid form to work on. Now there's a couple downsides to doing this. First, if you do glue these pages on, when they are open, they kind of stand up because of the way the spine is. It kind of holds them together and, you know, makes it so well, it makes the back rigid, like I had said. If you don't glue this piece on here, what you can do is glue it on the actual material that I'm going to use to bind it, and it will still give it a solid form, just not as solid. And that's actually what I had to do for the Christmas mini that I made, and the reason that I did that was because the spine was a little bit open in that book. I'm going to go ahead and use my quick dry adhesive again. Get that nice and glued up. You're going to get this all covered, so it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit messy. And the easiest way to actually do this is to line it up on the side, like this, and then set the book down and smooth in between your pages. Because you're pressing your pieces of cardstock, your what you use to bind it, your hinge pieces, you're pressing it down to that cardstock piece. So now this is what you have. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to glue this piece of felt around the binding, around the spine of the book. So I plugged my hot glue gun in earlier, and I am just going to, and I cut my piece of felt earlier too, and I'll show you guys how I'll line this up. I didn't want much of an overhang on the front and back covers, and it's totally up to you how far you want that to hang over. If it's a different kind of material, you could roll it under before you glue it down. Felt kind of has a finished edge when you cut it. It's not going to fray, it's not going to, you know, pull apart. So I don't really feel the need to do that. I'm also using a piece of felt that came embossed. You guys can see that. You've seen this on my Story album, except it was a piece of brown felt. It costs a couple dollars. You can find it at Michael's, right with all the other felts. So I'm going to line it up so that I have an equal amount on the front and back. Remember, you can't see the front and the back at the same time, so if it's a little bit off, nobody's going to notice but you. And I am going to go ahead and glue that down. Now my glue gun does not reach to where the camera is in here, so just bear with me while I use my handy dandy glue gun and put some glue on this piece. Now I'm going to go ahead and take it and put it in the middle of this felt, hopefully straight, so that when I wrap it around, it finishes my book off. And again, I'm just pushing in the middle of the pages just to get a good bond. So this is what we have now. Next step is just to glue this felt down to the page. So again, I'm off camera, but all I'm doing is applying some glue to the felt. The reason I'm not applying it to the page is because I don't really know where that's going to end up. So if I would put it on my paper, I run the risk of having glue exposed. Now sometimes the felt will stretch, like you can see right here. It happens when you're gluing it down and you're kind of smoothing it. Just trim it off. It's not that big of a deal. Remember guys, these are handmade. That adds to the beauty of it. So now I'm going to work on the back, and I'm applying my hot glue to it. So that back flap of felt. You can see, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use my fingers and roll it around to the front. Get a nice bond on there. Press it down nice and firm. Get it bonded well, really nice. Now what I'm doing is kind of curving the chipboard a little bit so that the book sits nicer, has a more appealing look to it, I guess. You can do that after your embellishments are in, it doesn't really matter. Just so your inner pages actually are inside of your cover and your back. It just makes your book open nicer. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You can email me at any time at lisareneeblack@gmail.com. And look out for more videos. The next thing that I'm going to do is probably embellish the cover with you guys. And if you see, let's see if I can pan up. I have some stuff already lined up so I can figure out what to do. Thanks for watching.